What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mixtapes. I'm your host, Eric Stanglin, and right next to me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Mark Moots. Moots, what's going on this morning, my friend?
Well, this morning, I think we have a great guest coming up. Um, really, really, really cool dude who I have some experience with. Incredible singer, talented cat from New Orleans, Louisiana. Uh, and I think you're familiar with Mr. Thomas's work, right?
No,
A little
absolutely.
bit.
Exhorder. Yeah.
Yeah. Singer of Exhorder, also Floodgate, also Trouble, and Alabama Thunder Pussy.
Oh, he was in trouble?
Yeah, he is in trouble.
Now.
Yes.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And maybe we'll see if he wants to get into that. Ex Hoarder were like, in the 90s, they got signed to Roadrunner and they released Slaughter in the Vatican, which is kind of like one of these cult status albums. It's been talked about ad nauseum, so I don't think we're really going to get into that.
Right.
Um, there's other comparison slash chicken or egg conversations that have been done forever that
There's
you
no,
can look that up.
yeah, exactly. There's no point in getting into those conversations and just
Totally.
rehashing.
But they released The Law. That was the second record. That was when I found them. I think it's a fucking great record, and it's groovy and heavy and
Yep.
pissed, and the lyrics are crazy. And,
That's the one
and
that I got into.
yeah, it's great. And then they went away. Um, they just like broke up. And then way back in, I want to say it was 20. Let me look real quick. Oh man, they released a follow-up record after like 27 years or something like that.
They're pulling the corner.
Yeah, basically pulling a corner. 2019, they released an album called Mourn the Southern Skies, which was like incredible. And then in 2024, they put out Defectum Omnium. Kyle now plays rhythm guitar and sings in the band. And having seen them live, it's some of these rhythms. I don't understand how some of these cats can play and sing this stuff.
That's always been a mystery to me, man. Like,
This the separation of church and
yeah,
state,
yeah.
right?
I always think of Mustaine,
Yeah,
I
dude,
always think of
go.
Hetfield in the
Yeah.
like Ride the Lightning Master of Puppets era. Even in like
Mhm.
some of the Justice stuff too is pretty insane.
Yeah,
Um, that type of stuff, like some people are just meant to do that.
I
You know
think
what I
so.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
I've had to sing backup at times and play guitar, and there were
sure.
certain like things like I just couldn't do. I was like, I just can't sing and play this at the same time. So I've always had respect for people that can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it for, I did it way back when, and then I still do it now. And it can be really challenging.
Yeah, 100%.
And whenever I see a guy who's just like playing the riffs and the riffs are the riffs and they're doing whatever, and then the vocal line is like a completely separate,
Yep.
you're not singing the riff.
Right.
Um, it's hard. It's hard. So, anyway, today we're going to be chatting with Mr. Kyle Thomas, and I couldn't be more excited.
Absolutely. So let's get to the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, real quick, too, also make sure you subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a brand new listener, we've got quite the archive that you can get into. We also have a YouTube page. Check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
We're on IG and Facebook and all that crap, too. We got a cool little Facebook group you can join also.
Yes.
And yeah, so if you're digging what you're hearing, we've had many guests on that you can go back and listen to, and we always appreciate the support. On to the show. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Mr. Kyle Thomas of Ex Hoarder, also Trouble, Floodgate, Alabama Thunder Pussy. Am I right? Did I get everybody?
I don't know.
That's a good answer. How are you today, man?
I'm well, thank you very much, man. Just enjoying this nice spring weather. It's been a little warmer here than usual, but it's okay.
Here too, actually. We've had kind of a heat wave and it's only March. It's strange. Anyway, climate change isn't our subject today. It's our subject today is Ex Hoarder.
Right.
You guys are getting ready to go back out on tour. here.
Correct. I'm leaving Friday for rehearsals.
Okay.
We are going to be jamming for the first time with Corey Pierce on drums. For those that don't know Corey is the drummer for God Forbid,
Yes.
and always has been. So we ran into a situation where Sasha is looking for kind of a reset on his life, and I'm a huge fan of that. Anytime somebody says I'm done, I need it, my kids need me, my family needs me, family first always. So Corey was available to us. We looked at a few different options, but Corey seemed like the best fit for us, and seems like a really cool guy. So we're gonna give it a try, see what happens. We're gonna roll with someone for 18 shows in 18 days that we've never met in person before.
That's a hell of a job interview.
Right.
No, I mean, I think he's a good fit. Obviously, I knew the God Forbid guys a little bit back in the day, and like he's a solid drummer. He's a solid drummer. I think he'll really fit what you guys need.
Yeah, he comes from the same background as our original guy, Chris Nail. So like they're both drum corps, marching band kind of guys. So that I think that helps for sure.
Perfect. I wanted to take it back just a little because we were talking in our intro about how there was a big gap in the Exhorder history.
Yes.
So we get the law in 92. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a 92.
Yeah, and then so 2017, Mourn the Southern Skies.
19,
sorry. And I know, like I had mentioned, you did the Alabama Thunder Pussy thing, which I thought was fucking great. And then you've been working with Trouble as well. But what, I'm sure you've talked about this, so you can side eye me, but like, what brought Exhorder back? Like, what brought that to where it seemed like time?
The meeting of unstable minds, I guess. Yeah, I think it just felt like, and this is the truth, and it's really kind of atypical of how things normally go. This band always continued to grow, whether we were feeding it or not. So the legendary status of this band has been such. You got people that say we invented this.
Sure.
I think the only thing we really truly mastered during that time was dysfunctionality. Really, like we were always when we played live back in the day, it was always people come up to us go like, "My God, this was an experience," So we always had this kind of air about us that we were one of the things to watch, but we just couldn't get out of our own way. We couldn't get out on tour. If we did get on tour, we got kicked off. We had definitely behavioral problems, like when you're a parent and you've got a child that's acting out. That's what they call it. It's the nice way of saying your child's an asshole. So literally, that's kind of what we were. We were asshole children out on tour, and that friction wasn't just us versus them. It was us versus ourselves a lot. So we imploded several times, and there was a long gap where we didn't work together at all. We might have done a handful of shows here and there, but it was never anything like a serious attempt at resurging this whole thing. And we had a guy, Jason Vibrooks, connected us to a guy he eventually became our manager, a guy named Simon Fullerman with All Independent Service Alliance, and he's a big fan of the band. He believed that we could take this steady growth that happens when we're not working and actually put something into it and make it grow exponentially. And he was right. So we took a chance on it. And, we've had some hiccups here and there and some rotation of staff, so to speak, along the way. But the last 4 years, we rolled in a pristine lineup, and that's the first time that that's ever happened for that long without any kind of major crisis or implosion. And it's a good feeling. I think it probably would still be going if, Sasha just wasn't in this state of flux that he's in, for whatever the personal reasons are. Like, and again, I said it a couple of times already that I don't want to go too into the personal side because that's Sasha's story to tell for sure. But we love the guy. He loves us, and it's just something that needed to happen for him. So here we are. We're still rolling, but we're just going to try and find another piece of the puzzle that fits us. Having Jason and Pat is golden. Jason's very good visionary. A lot of the riff writing he's been doing the last two albums, and he's still got a ton ideas more, which is great because I'm still like in trouble mode. I'm still recording new trouble stuff. So I haven't really been able to dive too into my song contributions for this upcoming album. So Jason's just getting a big head start, and to the point where, if I need to come in and kick some things in, more than I did last album, great. And if not, he's got it. And Pat's got ideas too. So I think he's kind of been going back and forth with, well, you guys kind of got this. It's like, no, dude, we want you to be a part of this also. So, and because the last album, all he did was play solos. And that's the way he wanted it. And that was fine because he was just kind of getting his sea legs back. And, but I mean, if all that Pat does is come in and lay down way better solos than Jason and I do, then it's a win, right?
Not a bad deal.
Let me ask you this, Kyle, if you don't mind. So with everything going good, like you're talking about, and like that cohesion and stuff, what's the different perspective from like now compared to back in the day? Like, what are you taking from now? How like what's the big difference? Like, I mean, it's weird to ask this question, but I want the listeners to understand more of like how it's working now compared to when it wasn't working before, and like what are you getting out of it now? Being older, like the perception, like what's different?
There's a lot that has changed. It's actually a really good and well-loaded question for me to talk on another tangent here. So y'all bear with me if I'm branching.
But we're listening and enjoying.
So I just turned 56 years old, and I joined this band 2 months after I turned 16. So You're talking about 4 decades later, and trying to find teen angst when you're like able to get 10% off of your breakfast at Denny's. It's like they don't go hand in hand, I don't think. So you have to find different things to communicate to people, things that, what ticked me off back then, well, probably back then, recognizing and realizing that the world ain't this nice place that Sesame Street taught us it was necessarily. And hypocrisy is rampant. And I think injustice was probably my biggest source of fodder for lyrical content, that sort of thing. My the politics, organized religion, anything that I felt was more harmful than helpful, and presented in a way that it isn't really existing. So fast forward to now, I've lived a lifetime. I've raised children. My children are older than hell. My granddaughter is going to turn 15 this year, and I wrote the lyrics to Legions of Death at 15. So here we are, just it's a much different life I live now. So I still get ticked off at things. I still get aggravated with the injustices. I probably just have a much different perspective on it, having lived a full adult life versus not even an adult yet when we started this band. I was 2 years shy of turning into an adult. So like really the whole slaughter, the birth, like the pre-slaughter in the Vatican pre-slaughter in the Vatican era, and then us developing into what I call the slaughter in the Vatican era, which is 1987, 88, where we started advancing from the earlier songs like Legions of Death and Ripping Flesh and all these songs to really writing more complex, well thought out structures like Death in Vain, Slaughter in the Vatican, Desecrator. These songs were just a major leap uh, from what we were doing as far as complexities and all this sort of thing go. So yeah, you have to keep a foot in the past and not forget who you were, but you also it's a slippery slope because you don't want to stay there without pushing boundaries and having growth. We are all huge fans of well-written song structures, good production, that sort of thing. And I think the more you pay attention to what has happened in the past with your stuff, take a look at where you're at now, why you're where you're at now, and what vehicles, meaning the material, the songs, led you to this point, and your actions as well. So you have to evaluate all these things and say, what can I do differently to try to make this bigger and reach more people? And I think always tweaking how you do things in the process, how you record an album, how you write an album. These things are paramount to what it takes to get to the next level. And we're not a band that's just out here going, hey, we had this album called Slaughter in the Vatican, and people think it's killer, and some people think it's one of the greatest thrash albums of all time, blah, blah, blah. And, I don't think about all that stuff so much. I really don't think about that album very much anymore. And it gets frustrating to me when I get into an interview situation and somebody just wants to hang on to that album. It's like, and man, that's so done for me. I'd rather focus on a path moving forwards. What are we doing from here? And it seems like we've had some success with it. The last two albums, I want to say when both of them first came out, there was a smattering of people that were pissed that it wasn't Slaughter in the Vatican Jr. or the Law Jr. It's like, we don't think like that anymore. We don't even listen to that necessarily anymore. So like we were on an evolution after the Law. We would have been on this path anyway. It just took us this long to do. So I think people would have back then probably have been just as frustrated, maybe even more so, because I think today people are more open-minded about different music than they were back then. You can see it when you go to the shows and there's punk kids and metal kids and, a guy my age that looks like he's got a tea time at 7 o'clock the next morning, so he doesn't want to stay out too late. This is the audiences that we have. Everybody's very different and inclusive, whereas back then people were fighting each other just for looking different.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's a great point, and it's funny too because like your DNA constantly changes as a musician, in my opinion. I feel like the stuff that you listen to
Sure.
that's new kind of has effect on maybe what you're writing. You know what I mean? It's like I don't want any band to be stuck in the past and like that's just what you do. Like that you end up being a legacy band. It's like the whole point of creating music is to create music, and if you're moving forward in that, I think that's huge. And as long as you guys are enjoying it and you feel like you're writing the best stuff that you can write, I mean, you'll get the people that will enjoy that. You'll find those people,
Correct.
and I think that's important. We're definitely not here to talk about the past whatsoever. I mean, we
No.
really want to find out what you're doing now that's newer, and bring our listeners to find what you guys are doing. That's important to us for sure.
Yes.
Sure.
I think,
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
I think that one of the things that you kind of touched on is like when I first heard Exhorder way back when, I was like, this dude is so pissed off. Like and I get it because you're like, yeah, teen angst, like you said, and rar, fuck everybody,
Catholic
fuck
schooling.
everything. Yeah, totally, right?
Yeah.
It's all documented. You can go back and listen to the albums, whatever. But then like I heard My Time, and it was like, yeah, that's what this dude would be pissed off about now.
True.
Like it was
True.
perfect. It's like there is a through line that totally makes sense. And I don't know. I'm sure you didn't.
No, it's true. It's true because I mean, basically, when I introduce that song, unless we're opening with it and I don't have a means to introduce it, if we're playing it later in the set, I always ask people basically like, has anyone here ever had a job or been to school? And everyone's hand is going up, right?
Yep.
It's like so you can all relate to this because this is about them taking your time from you
Yeah.
and trying to make it about them, and it's not, it's yours. So
That's right.
it's just it's basically a middle fingers up to the daily grind that we all are obligated to have to do just because it's yeah, house note,
Yeah.
car note, medical bills, whatever, life in general, and we have to generate revenue. We all have to be worker ants. Unfortunately, there's only room for so many billionaires on this earth, so we're all kind of stuck for the most part, and I think that's one thing that people really like. Oh yeah, I get that because even if especially when I say school, like
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many more younger kids in the audience now, and they get it, man. You're either at the tail end of it or you're still in it, and it's just a way that everybody can breathe and go, God, I know what this dude's talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's escape too. Music is an escape. I mean, no matter how
Sure,
crazy
it
your
it
life
should be.
is, it's something that I think it grounds you too, right? And if you're a listener and you can relate to what someone's saying, then you can take it for whatever it's worth too. It doesn't have to be
Yes,
the actual meaning that what you meant. You
absolutely.
know what I'm saying?
It's
That
subjective. It's
yeah.
subjective. And that's one thing people ask me is what do the lyrics to this song mean? And my first answer is always, what does it mean to you?
Mm,
Because once we release it, it no longer belongs to just me.
that's right.
It's just words. And there was an album that I did called Jones's Lounge, and it was in the early 2000s that this came out. My life was a disaster at this time, and I was coping with some addiction and just in an unhappy home, and it was just really a dark, tough time for me. I can't even listen to the record because it's so painful for me anymore. But this lady came to me and told me that same record that I personally still cannot hear anymore because of the pain that it caused me, and it was just a cathartic release of all that pain, but it still hurts to hear it. And this lady came to me and she said that album got me through the worst time of my life. And I was like, really? And she said, yeah, because I think she had lost a child in some kind of tragic accident, uh, and she said she wanted to give up, and the album helped her get through it. And it scared me because what I felt like the album meant versus what she meant were polar opposite, and it just made me realize how powerful music really is, and that it does not belong to you once you share it with everyone. It belongs to everyone, and that's an important. That could be weaponized for sure, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't know. I feel like everybody always needs to remember that art is art and should not be ever taken as gospel for sure. Like, but yeah, it felt good to know that I helped this lady, and she's not the first person that's come to me and said, your art has helped me get through the worst times of my life. That's good too, But on the flip side, I know there's some people that act like lunatics, and I've had them tell me too. They're like, these people are out of control and kind of no good, and they're like, you inspired me to just do whatever I want. It's like, that was not the intention, man. It's not the intention, man. Not at
Uh,
all.
Well, that's the hard thing too about like you're not writing music for people. And I don't think people understand that. You're writing music for you, right? I'm assuming,
Sure, that's where it
and
starts.
right. And then like however it's taken, like you said, it's not yours anymore when you release it. It's everybody's, who puts ears on it. it's such an interesting point because, you know, you want to get your thoughts out there and whatnot, and however people take and perceive it is kind of the power of music. And like you said, hopefully it's not in a bad way.
No, that's
'Cause that's
true.
not what
That's
you
all true.
intend. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
So you
sure.
said you're in trouble land right now as well.
Yeah, so they're almost completely finished with recording the music. Nothing happens quickly in trouble time. I always call trouble like it's like dog years in reverse, right? And uh we last put out an album in 2013, and here we are. It's 13 years later, and maybe this album gets out this year, maybe early 2027. I don't know. Like to me, I I feel like we waited this long. Let's just make sure it's right
Yeah.
and present it to the world as a proper Trouble album should be. But at the same time, it's time to work. So I actually did go through a little spell where I was having a little difficulty with the writing process, and I was like, why am I almost avoiding this right now? And I thought about it. And it's like, because you're a fan of Trouble, and you're scared you're gonna fuck this up, aren't you? And I for real, I went through a period where I didn't want to put pen to paper or anything because I was just like, these songs are so good. I like this material even more than the songs that were on the Distortion field. And as a fan, like with me bearing writing responsibility on this album, it had better be good. And I'm a firm believer that when I'm writing something and I'm not sure about it, I ask myself, would I spend money on this? And if the answer is no, I need to fix whatever's wrong until
Yeah.
I feel like I would spend money on this. And that's where I was at with some of these songs. So I got back in kind of fresh ears, reinvented a little bit of it, and it's been going well. Everything I've been submitting to them uh, is either like this is great right out the gates, or like this is cool, but let's work on this and this. And I'm okay with that when I write with somebody, especially if we're writing together. I don't want to like sit there and go, this is what I'm doing and my way or the highway. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather, I mean, if I went to them and said, guys, I think you've cut this part too short. I think you need to extend it 2 measures. They would listen to me. And, especially if I sold them as to why, like we need breathing room here, or there's a little idea I have here that I'd like to try. So uh, I think when it comes to writing, there needs to be an I'm listening side to the writer. And I haven't always been lucky enough to have people that I worked with in the past that were willing to be like that. There's been a lot of my way or the highway, and that's unfortunate because uh, hell, when we first started what became Floodgate, the band Penalty, which became Floodgate, my brother and I trading riffs together in a bedroom, and then we started putting songs together, and at first I was like, it's just you and me going to do all the writing. We're going to hire people to play, and then we got 2 guys in the band that were very, very adept and creative, and they came up with great ideas. So it was like, whoa, like it's even better when all 4 of us are working on this,
Yeah.
So
That's killer. Look, I know we're running tight on the time we got ahead, so um, I want to say thank you for agreeing to do this with us this morning. I could probably talk to you. I have a million questions, so we could go for hours, but we can do that
I
another
think
time, maybe.
well, I think we have a little bit of time here. I think
Do we?
yeah. I think my next one is we started this one 10:30 Central. I've
Yeah.
got another one at 11:30 Central.
Oh,
Go a little bit longer. We're
oh
cool.
shit. Okay,
Okay.
great.
Yeah, we just want to respect your time. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
that's even better. Well, that's really cool to hear about the trouble thing. That's exciting. Because Distortion Field was great.
Thank you.
And I think it's got to be is that a trip to be singing for that band?
Yeah. So it's a weird journey for me with Trouble because I remember the first time I heard Trouble was down at WTUL radio station, which is Tulane University's radio station. They used to have the hardcore show on Friday nights and generally hostile on Saturday nights, which was like more metal. And the hardcore show was first, so we went down there and we built on the punk scene here. So it wasn't weird for us to be on the punk show, right? So we started playing our demos down there, and they'd let us, the DJs were cool, and they, man, go pick out some vinyl and we'll spin it, like they let us basically make the requests. And we would have a good time, bring beer down there. It was a great time. And so when Generally Hostile came on, they had the Skull and the original Trouble, which became Psalm 9 down the line. And I just remember hearing those guitar tones and being like, oh my God, it sounds like Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Bauer and I were down there together, and we heard it, and I think he fell in love with it before I did. To be honest with you, I think the thing that at the time pushed me away from it was actually Eric Wagner's vocals, because I was so into crossover at the time. I wasn't really looking to hear anything that was of the genres like Black Sabbath and Judas Priest, whom I already felt like I already did this. This is not where I want to be. And Jimmy like fought really hard, and he would dig into these cuts that he thought that I'd dig, and he was fighting really hard to get me to follow Trouble. And then I don't know, one day it just clicked for me. I think it was Run to the Light, and Thinking of the Past. And we were riding in his car, and we were loaded, and he cranked it up, and it was like, I'm sold, man. That groove and the vocals were killer. And it just took me a minute, because I was in a discovery period of extreme music, punk, crossover, and thrash. And that's where 15, 16 years old, I was like, this is what I am, and this is what I always will be. And it was like such a blip in my life that that's all I ever was.
Yep.
So I was invited to join them on stage in 1997 at the Expo of the Extreme in Chicago. I was supposed to be a guest and sing like 2 or 3 songs. And I think Wino, Phil Anselmo, Kirk Winstein, John Garcia, there was like a lot of people that were going to get up and do 2 or 3 songs. And it all just fell apart. And I was the last one standing. And I was playing this festival with Floodgate. And so they came to me and said, can you do the whole show after you do Floodgate? I was like, yeah, I got this. So the first day I rehearsed with them, I was scared. I was so scared, because I was already friends with Ron, and we're at Ron and Carol's house in Chicago, staying with them, and we rehearsed in their basement. And Ron knew I was nervous, so he came out to me. He's like, they just pulled up outside. And I'm like, oh shit. So I'm out there like helping them carry shit in, like trying to just, hey guys, just be a big help. And they were so cool and fun. But in the rehearsal room, and Bruce is all about business. And if there was anything right I wasn't doing, kind of look at me.
One of
And then after the
those.
song, he'd offer a critique. It's like, he was never an asshole about it, but I was like, Bruce is the tough nut to crack here.
Okay.
But it was great, man, and I love them all, man. Bruce and Rick are like older brothers for me, because my only like biological brother is not even 2 years older than me, so we grew up more as twins.
Mm.
There's some little bit of big brother, little brother thing there, but having someone like that 10 years older than you it's dynamically different for sure. So I don't know. I've been playing with these guys for so long that now they're just bros. But I'm not gonna lie, that sometimes when I get on stage and it's time for them to go to the front of the stage and do the twin guitar thing, and I'm standing either by the drums or like off stage, I'm sitting there going like, man, I get to see this every day from behind, and everybody else watches it from the front. Nobody gets to do what I'm doing here, and this is so great. It's so cool. It really is. It's. I still am kind of like a teenager at times when I'm on stage with a band that I listened to when I was a teenager.
Sure. Well, how could you not?
Yeah,
Right, right.
You know, I mean, I can't even imagine like how cool that must feel and surreal, I would think,
yeah, for
at
sure.
times.
Well,
You
and
know, even just
gratitude, right?
yeah, or even
Gratitude.
just being like, these are the dudes that I was listening to, and now we're like friends. And not
Yeah,
only are
yeah,
we friends, but we're gonna jam
and
together and tour. And
and eventually I did meet Eric down the line, and
okay,
he was extremely cool to me. Really, really nice guy, and very encouraging. When I was announced that I took the job, he was the first one that messaged me and
hmm,
wishing me luck. You know, telling me he knows I'm going to do great and just honor the legacy and get out there and kill it and have a great time. Man, I was like, wow, this is so cool. This
that's
is like
amazing.
beyond cool to me,
Yeah.
and I really, really think that he was a special, one of a kind type of singer because he, when you hear him talk, he was like, he had this really deep voice, but he could hit the high end stuff too, and
Mhm.
and that just goes to show you what a range he had. And I feel like by the time they were doing the Deaf American records, he was really coming into his own as a really top tier guy at what he was doing. And uh, when I approach performing our songs on stage, the ones that are Eric's, I always go into it with the mindset of I have to honor the legacy of the song first, the spirit of the song. I have to capture the spirit of the song. And then my second task is I have to make sure that I am honoring Eric's legacy
Mhm.
without aping him, pretending to do his little isms and stuff. I don't do that. I do it my way, but I don't. It's not as drastically different as Ozzy and Dio singing, like Dio singing Ozzy songs. Dio did it his way, and that was just the way he did it.
Right.
And that's okay. But for me, people want to hear those songs like they were on the record when they come. So I don't take a lot of liberties, and I stick to the blueprint. But again, like I said, I'm not trying to imitate Eric. I think that would be disrespectful to the both of us. So I've met people along the lines that were lifer fans of Trouble that said, "Man, we came to this show and we did not want to like you because you're not Eric." And we
Right.
walked away from the show going, "Holy hell, that dude just did Eric's song so much justice."
Hmm.
And I always look at them and I just say, "I care."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That is, there is some weight to that because Eric was, I mean, fuck, dude. He was amazing. And those are
Yeah,
big shoes, right? And
sure.
it's not that you're not capable. I mean,
No, but like I get it if people don't
yeah,
want to embrace it. You don't have
yep,
to. Stay home and listen to the records.
totally. Yeah. I think people get real caught up in that idea that I mean, Eric's gone, sadly, right? So
Yeah,
like, do you want to have trouble?
that's just it. Like we've got work to do. Uh, I think people they get possessive over an era, a classic era of a band that they like. They get territorial about how they feel about it, and they feel like that's more important and carries more weight than what the band wants. There was some guy trashing me on some Trouble posts at one point, and to the point where I was amused by it, and uh, and so I was kind of sticking the ant pile, and I don't normally fight with people online, but this guy, I was having fun with him. And it got to the point where Rick had had enough, and Rick went there and told him, "Listen, you stupid asshole." It's like this dude's like trying to rally for Trouble against me, and Trouble comes in going, "Get out of here, asshole."
You know what's funny about that? Before we hit the record button, me and Moots were talking about that. We were talking about Skid Row of all bands and how some people are like they need to get Sebastian back and blah 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 and all this other stuff. And it's like I don't think the fans understand like how bands work. You know what I mean in that sense, and like how some bands are happy with what they're doing and who they have in their bands, and they don't want to go
Yes.
backwards, and they don't want to deal with somebody that maybe they don't get along with, or somebody that's moved on and is doing different type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So I'll liken it to this. A band is a mom and pop business, and there's just no two ways about it. It's small business. So think about a job that you've had at any given point in your life where there was somebody there during the day that you had to work with that was so toxic to you in your life that you either considered changing jobs or like hoping this son of a gun gets fired,
Right.
something, or like, or that they leave or something. And it's the same thing, you pile up into close quarters in a vehicle, or van, RV, bus, whatever it might be. You still have to be around this person. And I can, to be fair, I have worked day jobs with people that I couldn't stand, but that I'd rather work with the person I couldn't stand because we worked well together than a friend who was going to sit there and play all day. I'd rather, I need to get out of here. I got a home to go home to. The longer you take to get through the workday, the longer it takes me to get there. So I'd rather work with the person I don't get along with. But that's not so easy in a band. I think band people try to not look at the band as a job, and it is, man. It's a job. You have to treat it that way. And the relationships are important. So if you can't compartmentalize that and tuck it away, and if one person's not holding down their end of the bargain and pulling their weight, that's when you start getting problems. People fighting over who's getting the most attention, who's oh, how come they got the things on their ride and I didn't get the things on mine, or like, I don't know, so and so's drunk again. All these things come into play. I don't know. To me, I got a job to do every day when I'm on tour, and the party aspect of all that comes way after the tasks are done. I just got too much going on. I can't
Yeah.
I can't do all these things compromised in any way. So when you've got one person going in this direction and three people going in this direction, or however many, it's usually a telltale sign that we either need to talk about this or make a change. And sometimes you have to do it, but yeah, think about your worst experience in a job with a person, and every band probably has one of those, and you
Yeah.
just have to deal with it. You have to figure out, is it worth dealing with, or do we need to make a change?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're pulling back the curtain in a good way too, because I think if more fans understood that, because like you have a lot of fans that don't play instruments and have not been on tour and stuff like that, and they don't get that concept, and in the whole like, oh, do it for the fans. It's like you've done a lot for the fans, but it's like to compromise your happiness just because somebody wants to see somebody on stage when no one gets along with that person at all. That's not conducive to a healthy situation that you're going to be getting in return anyway. When you go see the show,
Exactly.
you're not going to get the energy you want to get. It's been a great
You want
conversation.
us to keep coming back here touring, then allow us to provide ourselves with a happy work environment.
Yeah.
100,
Yeah.
100%, man. And moving forward too, like you said, man, creating new music. Like let us give you things that you know you can get into or not, and it's your choice too as a fan. Like I don't like the new
Yeah,
stuff. I love the new stuff, but if you're not providing that, how does the fan know if they like it or not?
true.
You know?
Yeah. So speaking of new stuff, Exhorder will be. You guys are free agents. I remember seeing
Yes.
post that for a hot
Yes, we
minute.
had a 2 album deal with Nuclear Blast,
Yeah.
and we are free to go as we please. We have I don't want to say who, but we had
Yeah.
uh, um, a big boy, so to speak, big boy label reach out to us interested. We're just kind of taking our time right now because We're in a position where we don't have any deadlines, no timeline. We've relaunched ourselves. I think we're finally starting to establish ourselves as, a legit headliner both in Europe and in the States. So that took a long time because of, starting and stopping over and over again so many years. But we've been hitting it really hard and heavy the last few years, and I think we finally got people to buy into the big picture for us. So at this point, we're like, we can do this on our terms. We've got Jason setting up a studio where we rehearse out in the countryside in Ohio. So we're going to be self-contained in that regard. We won't need to go into a studio. We will have a studio. I record all the vocals right here in this room.
Oh,
so right there, I don't have to pay for studio time. We've actually got enough means in the way of capital that we could release an album on our own and then license it out to whomever we decided made sense, and really at either that or the very least, or like kind of release it on our own and just, find the distribution, which is not impossible to do. I've discussed this with our manager, and he's like, no, this is very doable. You guys are in a unique position. So if we go with a label, it's going to have to be a situation where that label has to invest a little bit more than just like, okay, well, this band, we're gonna put a lot of emphasis on this band, but this one we're just gonna throw out there and see, if it sticks. We don't want that. We've been in that situation already, and if we can do this on our own and on our own terms, I'd prefer to do that than be somebody's less than priority,
we were talking earlier in the conversation about perspective. This is a perfect example of what I was thinking about, where you have more of that insight from playing music for so long. You're understanding, hey, we hold more of the cards now, and we understand the climate so different than it used to be when you first started the band. You understand, like, hey, like merch is different the way it works. Like, albums are different the way it works. People don't have CD players in their cars anymore. You have to think, like, I don't want to say outside the box, such a stupid corporate term, but you have to think differently in terms of how to be successful and how to keep the band moving forward through these weird times where, gas is so much more expensive. How do you equate that into this? This is more expensive. That is more expensive. People are just getting, and it goes back into the angst thing, right? Where people can understand this, where, like, do I have enough money to go see this band or that band or this band, or where does the money go on this paycheck? I mean, it's
exactly.
That's the perspective I was talking about. Where I was thinking, like, you guys, you have a much better handle now of understanding how you want this to move forward, which is
for sure. Yeah, we've been it's taken us a while, but we finally got a system that really, really works, where we can go out. We're generating enough revenue to not only to pay everybody, which there were several tours back in the day where I didn't get paid and I paid everybody, and then on top of that, we've gotten to the point where now, after all the expenses are paid and everyone's paid, there's actually a profit. So
that's nice.
And that's good, because we have to buy more merch, we have to buy flights, we have to that you've always got to front money on something. So money begets money. You don't make money until you spend money. So if you have no capital, then running your business is going to suffer if you don't set it up to where you've got something left over at the end for the business. It's just the truth.
Absolutely. So you're heading out here with my buddies in Skin Lab.
Yeah. This is a first for me. I've not toured with them before. I know Steve Esquivel. I'm not sure I know the other guys. I don't know.
To be honest, at this point, I think I know Steve. I don't know who's in the band right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've been around for a long time, so I'm sure that same thing. They've had an evolution of people.
Yes, they have.
But I'm very pleased with the reaction that we've gotten from announcing them as our support on this tour, because it's been like, oh wow, Skin Lab, I didn't know they were still around. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that are very excited that this band is not only still active but on this package. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a fun trip. I think uh, I know enough about Skin Lab and their songs to know that we pair nicely together stylistically.
Yes. Yeah. I saw it and I was like, well, that's a good bill. Like when I saw the post, I was like, that's fun. Like that makes
Sure.
sense to me. Um, awesome. Okay. I think we're gonna bring it home, sir.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure. It's always good talking to you.
Likewise.
Hopefully you'll come through Reno again, not on a Monday night to an empty house.
That's a cool place, though, man. Is that place still open?
Yeah, yeah, they're still hanging in there. It's a
Yeah,
cool venue.
I
For
thought so.
Yeah, and they take good care of you when you're playing there.
Yeah, yeah. I just seem to remember it was nice. It was clean.
Yep.
They were kind,
Mhm.
and we wanted for nothing. It was a really great day.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you guys ripped. So
Well, killer. That's the objective always.
yeah, no, it was cool. And not to mention, I heard you playing that Only Living Witness riff at soundcheck, and I thought, I see you.
Somebody else called me out on that recently. I was doing that somewhere, and they messaged me saying, "I heard that."
Yep. Well, how can you not? That riff is,
Yeah,
not to mention Jonah, you know.
exactly. I love
Anyway,
Jonah. Great guy.
everybody, if Exhorder's coming through your town, make sure you don't stay home. Go see them. Pick up the last two albums too, man. Omnium Gatherum. Did I say that right?
Defectum Omnium.
Defectum Omnium. I'm sorry, Omnium Gatherum.
Close enough.
Swedish band. Anyway, pick up the latest Exhorder albums. They're really great. Looking forward to New Trouble and whatever else you're doing, my friend.
Amen to that. Thank you very much.
Been great seeing you, Eric.
Likewise.
Oh, thank you so much for being on the show. It was really cool to have a great conversation with you and talking about some things that I don't think you probably get to talk about too much in interviews. So I appreciate.
Yeah, yeah. I like the organic conversations versus the templated questions. I mean, that's fine too, but it just goes to show you that you guys are already familiar with what's going on here and not discovering. So I think that lends you guys an ability to kind of orchestrate a conversation that's a conversation less than it is an interview. And I
Yeah,
like that.
we appreciate that.
Thank
We're all musicians too, so it's like we all kind of get it, and I think that's
Sure.
another
Oh,
important.
you're jaded too?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I also went to Catholic school too, so we got
Amen.
we got that in common too.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for the extra time too. We do appreciate it very
Yeah.
much.
Amen. All right, fellas. Yeah, thanks a bunch, and we'll see y'all out your way at some point,
I hope so.
hopefully.
I hope so, man.
So.
That'd be awesome.
All right, cats. Y'all take it easy.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kyle.
You too. Cool conversation. It was
Yep,
very nice
cool
of
dude.
Kyle to give us some extra time too. I mean,
Yeah.
I like I like really talking to musicians on this show, um, because like we talked about towards the end of the conversation, it kind of peels back the curtain a little bit for people that
Mhm.
aren't musicians to get an understanding of like musician life. Because I had no concept of that before I was like playing and gigging and things. I didn't know. You got this preconceived notion, and then you get into
Mhm.
that world and you realize, oh wow, that's very different than what I thought it was. And
Yeah.
I enjoyed greatly where the conversation went today.
No, I think it's always interesting when you find out how the sausage gets made, you know.
Yes.
Um, and it's never as fun and cool as you thought it was. But
Yeah,
but it's still fun and cool.
it is.
But
And like that's why I asked them the question about like what's the perspective now? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because
Yep.
if you do put something together again that hasn't really, it's been dormant for a long time, like what's the reasoning behind it? And like, how do you see it now?
Yeah.
Because like, when he said in the other conversation where he was, like they actually have like money set aside and they
Yep.
have a space where they rehearse and They don't have to spend money on studio time. Like that's the new way things are done,
Well, and it's
where
so smart.
it's so smart because look, and I'm not saying this against any studio people too. And I do believe studios are so important.
Yeah,
I believe
absolutely.
producers are important. I believe extra
Yep.
ears are important. I believe there's people that are amazing at their jobs, right? But the thing is, when you step into a studio, you are automatically losing money. Now,
Right away.
you just
It's
are.
like
I
buying
mean,
a new car.
yeah, absolutely. And then like the worst part about it is like, what are you going to sell that's going to help you? And in this day and age, the answer is t-shirts and concert tickets. And like those are things that you were doing anyway to make money on
Hmm.
top of selling CDs, and like cassettes
Yep.
back in the day, or like sort of vinyl, but like, newsflash, guys and girls, you gotta order a shit ton of vinyl to make that profit margin make sense. So
Hmm.
you're kind of, you're losing money stepping in the studio as much as the experience is amazing. And I love working with producers and engineers. Like you have to question why are you doing that,
Hmm.
especially if you have the opportunity to be able to produce it on your own if you're talented and good enough to do that. And Kyle
Yeah,
just seems so his head's so on straight. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like I was very impressed with the conversation today on division and making sense. And the trouble talk was great too. It was really
Yeah,
cool
man.
to talk about that and understand he's not going to do it like Eric, but he's also not going to be disrespectful. And
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know, man. Just it's a great way to start the morning when you have a great, cool conversation, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun. And honestly, like I know I said it, but the I am a fan of the early Exhorder stuff,
Sure,
specifically the Law.
me too.
But Mourn the Southern Skies and Defectum Omnium, I said it right this time. Um, they're they're really good records. Like they really are. And they sound like a mature, grown up version of Exhorder. Kyle's voice is insane, honestly. And the
Plus,
guitar playing's fucking awesome. The riffs are killer. Like there's nothing you can't miss with
the
either of these new Exhorder records.
the production's better,
Dude, it sounds
technology's
so good.
better.
Yep.
Like there's so many positives, and like you are a
Yeah.
big champion of this. Is like
Yes.
like if you say you're really a fan of a band, you have to give the band a
Hmm.
chance, like when they release new stuff, because you're really
Yeah.
not a fan if you don't. I've always
No,
I always thought that was a great point.
I like that Kyle, he said that people get really protective and like precious about
And they do.
the era of a
Yeah,
band that they enjoy. And I totally understand that. I
totally.
really do.
Yeah.
Um, but also I got to at least check it out. And if it's not for me, it's not for me. That's okay.
Yeah.
Um, now, granted, you know, not not too many years ago, I would have not have that soft of a look on it, but I've grown in my old age. Um, but like if yeah, if a band I liked puts out a new record, I'm gonna listen to it and I'll like it or not. But like I'm not gonna hate on them for wanting to continue
A- and
because of course you do. I mean, fuck, I'm still playing in a band.
I think that's a
You know?
great point, and it's one of those things where it's like I would rather have you put out new music and fail
Yeah.
than not put out music and tour every 2 years.
Oh, the legacy deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and look, you got to make the money somehow. I get all that stuff, right,
Hmm.
and whatnot, and just it's me personally. So who gives a shit what I say? But like me personally, I have more respect for the like. Look, let's use a band as an example. Metallica. I haven't
Sure.
liked anything Metallica's put out in a long, long time, but I will still check out every new thing they put out. I will because Metallica is very important to my DNA when I was a kid. So I'll check it out and I'll be like, nah, ain't for me, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't mean it isn't for somebody else. And, that
Yeah.
they are putting out new stuff and still selling out football stadiums.
Yeah.
They're doing something right. You know what I mean? And like,
Obviously.
and the weird thing too, man, this will trip you out. I just read a little thing that the other dude, the Zachy guy in Event Sevenfold,
Right.
is appreciating Saint Anger.
I saw it. I did not read it.
It's interesting
Okay.
because I do think records are misunderstood in certain time periods. Now,
Sure.
I will never misunderstand that snare tone.
Well, I understand that it's awful.
Yeah, I'll never misunderstand that. Like that's never going to be a good snare tone to me. I don't care how you try to justify it. Like that was a big swing and a miss. I've always thought some of the riffs were great on that record, but just in general, I just thought it was four guys or three guys really because Bob Rock played bass on that
Yeah.
record. It was three guys in a lot of inner turmoil with themselves. I mean, if you watch some kind of monster, which I do recommend watching,
Yeah.
you see it. And as Kyle talked about, if you're in your own way, it's very hard to be productive. And I think Saint Anger is that point in time that's documented where Metallica is on like the last thread of their tires.
Well, I think they were in a place where they didn't even know who they were anymore.
Right.
I think they had their heads pretty far up their own asses, and there was problems going on.
I don't blame any of that for them
The
too
balls
because
it took to release that film, it's incredible.
and the 1-2 punch of that, and I believe Lulu was right after that.
Lulu was right after that. Yeah, and
I
I mean they're
believe.
still the biggest band in the world, arguably.
I
So,
mean, they will go down as the biggest metal band of all time.
oh, easily.
I mean, there's not,
So,
and they earned it. Honestly, they
yeah,
did. But anyway, enough about Metallica.
yeah. Fuck them.
Kyle's a great dude. It was
Yes.
really nice meeting him today, and it was really cool having the conversation that we did. So, Kyle, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Listeners, thank you guys for doing all you do. We appreciate you. We got a Facebook group that we hope you join. Mixtapes Facebook group, or is it mixtape? Was mixtape podcast group? It's so easy to remember that I just forgot it.
Yeah.
But it's a fun group, and we'd love to hear more from you guys because the conversation doesn't have to end when you hit stop on this episode. And we do like to hear things. Like we do like to hear people talking about. We had a crazy Billy Squier conversation with some people on the
Yeah.
group. That was awesome. It was like I love more of that. It could be anybody, anything. Discussions are great, and discussions also give us ideas for new segments on Fridays.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
anything you want to add before we get out of here?
We did the subscribe, follow everywhere all the
We
time.
gotta do the album thing.
Well, I'm gonna say listen to Exhorder.
I'm gonna say listen to the brand new Exhorder, the last
Yeah,
thing they put out.
listen to the last two albums back to back. They'll be right here and there.
Yeah,
Um,
I would definitely say do that.
They're killer records, and what's not to love?
Yeah,
Kyle Thomas is a gentleman, killer singer, and it was a great time today.
100%, ladies and
Thanks for
gentlemen.
hanging in there.
Yeah, absolutely, and one of our shorter episodes today. So hopefully you go listen to another one today. And if you don't, that's okay. If it's a first time listener, like I said in the beginning of the show, subscribe. That way you never miss anything. We got a back catalog of a lot of great musicians and authors and engineers, producers that have been on the show. You can check out some stuff in the catalog. Like I always say at the end of every episode, be good yourselves, be good to others. Text a friend, give them a call, tell them you found a great new podcast called Mixtapes. We'll talk to you guys soon.